Hey, how's it going, everyone? Here's a quick dividend digest that I wanted to talk about. If you are an investor of Altria or Philip Morris, you might want to listen up. So I stumbled upon this article from the Wall Street Journal, and it says, Why America is Running Low on Zyn Nicotine Pouches. And basically, the article talks about how there's going to be a supply chain shortage of Zyn, which is one of the most popular tobacco products out there right now, because it's being produced and manufactured in one factory in Kentucky, and they just cannot keep up with all of the demand. So it says Zyn's U.S. sales growth is slowing down because they can't meet the demand of the consumers. Like, the consumers want the product, it's just they can't keep the shelves in the stores and convenience stores and gas stations. They just can't keep it stocked. Social media, people are calling this the Zyndemic or the Great Zympression because they want it, but they can't have it. And what's interesting about Zyn and all of these other nicotine pouch products is that there's no tobacco in it. Essentially, it only has nicotine with some artificial sweetening flavors. So it's pretty addictive, and I can see why people are getting a little uneasy and impatient with the company, because they got them hooked, yet they can't provide them what they want anymore, right? So it's like, it reminds me of Coca-Cola back in the day, how people were literally getting addicted to the product because it was just so sugary and carbonated and delicious, right? They have one factory in Owensboro, Kentucky. That just boggles my mind. You would think with something as successful as Zyn, you would at least prop up one additional factory to increase the output. But what do I know, right? Yeah. The adjustment that they're making is for that factory. So they're probably going to increase the machines or staff or headcount or do something. And then they're going to open another production facility next year. So good. Let's see. What else does this article talk about? Yeah, it talks about one person's personal experience. Haley, 29-year-old insurance adjuster in Boston. She's trying to buy some Zyn, but she can't find it anywhere. So when she was visiting family in Rhode Island, sold out everywhere as well. She went up to 3 different stores, couldn't find it, but gave up. Let's see. Her story is probably similar to most Zyn customers. The demographic, they transitioned from using vaping products, right? Because I think everyone realized how harmful and dangerous vaping really is. Now they're transitioned into smokeless tobacco products, with the nicotine pouches. And I guess it's a little bit safer, but me personally, even though I invest in Altria, I don't use a single tobacco product. I probably should. There are days where I'm stressed beyond belief, but I still don't use any. Let's see. She placed an order from the Zyn website, but it's not going to arrive for 2 more weeks. It's crazy. Zyn users are addicted to nicotine and consume the pouches daily. So on with the exclamation mark that you see right there, that is the rival product made by Altria. It's essentially the exact same thing. It's a little pouch that you put into your mouth and usually slip it under your bottom rack of teeth or the top rack, and you just suck on it, right? And the juices and the flavors, and it gives you a little buzz, and it's supposed to be a little bit more friendlier for your gum health, because when you use actual tobacco products like dip, apparently it's not so good. And Zyn accounts for 25% of all U.S. smokeless tobacco sales. And as we all know, that's where the trend and the next direction is going to be for the tobacco industry. Like, less and less people are going to be using traditional cigarettes, especially those that are under the age of 29, right? So I'm thinking about Gen Z. They're not going to be putting a cigarette in their mouth. When I was growing up, yes, cigarettes and cigars, that was the cool thing. And then it transitioned into dipping, during my time in the military. And now it was vaping, and we have just transitioned into doing smokeless tobacco products, which out of all of the other categories of tobacco products, it's probably the safest. Yet, to me, I still don't think it's safe, right? Because I don't like the idea of my body becoming addicted to any type of substance or ingredient. Like right now, right? Outside of the category of tobacco, people are just addicted to sugar, right? Everything has like 30, 40, 50 grams of sugar. And if it's not sugar, it's a substitute that's just as bad, like sucralose, which is an artificial sweetener that's made in the laboratory. It is clear this very strong growth is creating some tension on availability, right? So they got people hooked on this product and they're not able to fulfill the demand. So I have another article pulled up right here, and it's from 2 months ago, right? April 2024. The title is "Smokeless Products Are the Future of Big Tobacco." This company is losing the race. They're alluding to Altria. And that's because Philip Morris, the company behind Zyn, they're dominating, right? 25% of all smokeless tobacco sales are from Zyn, which is Philip Morris. However, their sales are declining because they're not able to produce and pump out the Zyn pouches as fast as the consumers want. So where my head is at is, as Zyn cannot fulfill the demands of the consumers, that market share is inevitably going to go towards On, what the exclamation mark produced by Altria. That's where my head is at. So if you are fancying or an investor of Altria, I'm bullish right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely despise and hate the tobacco industry. I also hate the health insurance industry. But as an investor, this is kind of a bullish market trend that I'm seeing. So this is back in April 2024. It says, this week, tobacco giants PMI and MO reported 2024 first quarter earnings. And it was just very different. Because Juul, which is a vaping product, it used to hold the crown, right? Everybody was vaping, literally like maybe 5 to 10 years ago. But that has been slowly disappearing. And everyone is now addicted to these pouches, nicotine pouches. In this quarter alone, smokeless tobacco sales at PMI increased 21% from the year prior. A 21% growth rate for any category, service, or product is literally bonkers. That's the kind of numbers you see in these high growth tech companies. So I'm bullish on this industry. However, it says when you look at Altria, it says 90% of its sales are still stemmed from traditional cigarettes, right? So as Altria makes that pivot, because they are right now, if you go to their website, they're all about smokeless tobacco products. They're trying to transition away from cigarettes because they know like cigarettes has way too much litigation problems, restrictions, health implications, and their customer base are those above the age of 30 or urban factory workers or blue collar, that demographic. They're the ones still using cigarette products. But if they want to branch out, stay relevant, and keep their growth happening year after year, which is what the investors demand, they have to make this pivot and transition into smokeless tobacco products. With Altria, smokeless tobacco products only grew 6% from the year prior. But do you see where I'm coming from, right? As people cannot buy Zyn, right? We're attributed to that 21% growth rate for Philip Morris. That number is going to go down to probably like 15%. And Altria is probably going to go up to like 12, 14, 15%. They're going to take that market share from Zyn. Look at this. The smokeless race, sales breakdown, first quarter. As you can see, like the darker shade of blue, I don't know, what would you call that? Black, navy blue. Look how much the smokeless tobacco products are accounted for PMI, their sales, their revenue. With Altria, it's still only a very small sector of their sales, which means they have a lot more room for growth. Now, the thing is, I don't use On or Zyn or any nicotine pouches, so I personally don't know if one product is superior to the other. What I think is happening is Zyn and their social media and their marketing efforts are superior to Altria's On. So what I think is they're probably the exact same thing, right? I mean, this is an unpopular opinion, but it's like comparing Pepsi to Coca-Cola. It's nearly the same thing. Of course, it tastes a little bit different, but it hits that same thirst quench, right? Now, sorry, that's a Gatorade a Gatorade thing, but you see where I'm coming from, right? It provides that sugary, carbonated hit that you're craving. So I think they're probably the exact same product. It's just Zen has a lot more buzz and is a lot more popular. It's kind of like when I think about Nike versus Under Armour 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Under Armour just had a grip on teenagers and the youth, right? They all wanted to wear Under Armour. It was the cool thing. Like, that's what you wanted to be seen wearing. And if everyone else is wearing it, that's what you want to wear. But at the end of the day, Nike and Under Armour are basically the exact same product, right? They make sports, leisure wear, stuff that you wear when you go running, weightlifting, or for kids when you play soccer or baseball. Exact same product. It's just one had a better influence and marketing efforts and popularity. And that's what I think with Zen. So as this is happening, I really truly think that Altria needs to capitalize on this moment because On is probably the same thing as Zen. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. If you use Zen or On, let me know. Is one better than the other? American smokers are switching to non-combustible alternatives. This is true. I made a very in-depth analysis video about Altria, and it's just going to continue, right? Less and less people are going to be smoking cigarettes in the next 10, 20, 30 years, but nicotine and tobacco is not going to disappear. Why do I say tobacco? Because nicotine is produced and sourced from tobacco. So the pivot is going to be for smokeless tobacco products, and it's a transition that I think aligns better with the health conscious consumers. Because now I think a lot more people are wary and a little bit more careful about what they're pumping into their body, right? Like even 5 years ago, nobody cared about microplastics. Now microplastics are all the rage and people are complaining, and rightfully so, that they're eating and digesting little particles of plastics that their body will never be able to expel because we've been using the wrong types of containers, and the way they manufacture products leak plastic into the food sources. And we don't even know the long-term health implications of what's going to happen by having all this plastic in our body. And it's even more scary because plastic can actually go through the blood-brain barrier, which usually stops any weird chemicals from going in, meaning our brain contains millions of particles of plastic. But anyways, this is not a video about plastic. PMI oral products, including nicotine pouches, more than doubled last year to 800 million units. Now, if they can get the pricing power, I think right now, I'm not exactly sure what the price is going for, but I'm imagining that they're pricing it low to get people hooked. And once people are hooked, just like the Amazon Prime method, you increase the price, right? Like just like the Netflix subscription method. You keep it low at first to get people interested and hooked. And once they're hooked, they can't imagine their life without it. And then you do pricing power and increase it. And that's where the real margins are seen. 60% of those sales came from nicotine pouches like Zen, Copenhagen, and On. They're losing market share to Zen. Yes, I agree. I think PMI right now is the superior tobacco company to Altria. And that's because Altria, I think they put way too much eggs in the basket of Juul and vaping. I feel like when PMI made the acquisition for Zen, which is a Swedish company, they were miles ahead of the vision of the tobacco industry in the future, right? But Altria is playing catch up. And knowing that the companies share the same DNA, I feel like Altria is going to do okay. On reported shipment volume of 33 million cans during the first quarter, an increase of 32% from a year ago. Guys, I'm just telling you right now, I'm bullish. You don't have to share these beliefs, but based on what I see in market trends and what I'm reading, that's the conclusion that I reached, right? And I usually don't like investing into products or services that I personally don't utilize because then I can't testify if it's good or not. But in this case, I'm just gonna go by the data, the finances, and the market trends. Well, anyways, I guess that's it. I'm bullish. Zen, supply chain issues. On, this is an opportunity for them. Anyways, this has been a Dividend Digest, which means it's a quick and dirty and raw video. It's not like my usual videos where it's a lot more polished and scripted. Anyways, I'll talk